You have finally found someone who sees you. The conversations go deep. The silence between you feels safe. You are known in a way you have never been known before, and then one morning you wake up and the closeness feels like drowning. You need distance, not because anything went wrong, not because the person failed you, but because intimacy itself has become unbearable. If you have ever pushed away the very closeness you spent years longing for, you are not self-sabotaging, you are experiencing the exile's paradox. This video explains why, for you, intimacy and distance are the same door. Welcome to power and myth. Here is what makes this genuinely strange. Most people experience intimacy and distance as opposites. You move toward someone or away. But for the INFJ, these are not opposing forces. They are two expressions of the same structural reality. You are the exile, and the exile does not belong to the village, no matter how much the village opens its doors. This is not about worthiness. It is not about whether you deserve connection. It concerns the architecture of consciousness. You perceive too much. You carry too much. And closeness, real closeness, does not soothe that burden. It amplifies it. Picture this moment. You are with someone you love. The evening has been beautiful. You have laughed, shared stories, and felt genuinely met. And as you drive home, instead of warmth, you feel a creeping exhaustion. The closeness you just experienced now feels like a weight pressing against your chest. You need to be alone, not for an hour. For days you need to retreat so deeply into yourself that the other person's presence becomes a memory rather than an immediacy. And the guilt arrives with the need, because how do you explain to someone that their love feels like an invasion, that being seen, truly seen, makes you want to vanish? This is the exile's paradox. You long for intimacy, you are built for depth. Surface connection feels like starvation, but when intimacy arrives, when someone actually crosses the threshold into your inner world, the exposure becomes intolerable. It is not that they have done something wrong. It is that being known at that level requires you to hold yourself open in a way that contradicts your fundamental survival mechanism. The INFJ survives by withdrawal, by maintaining the observer position, by keeping one part of yourself permanently outside the interaction, watching, assessing, and translating. Intimacy asks you to stop translating, to stop observing, to simply be present, and for the exile that kind of presence is not rest, it is freefall. Jung understood that the psyche organizes itself around opposing forces held in tension. The exile carries one of the archetypal landscape's strangest tensions. You are simultaneously the one who longs to be found and the one who cannot bear to be caught. This is not ambivalence. It is not fear of commitment disguised as personality type. It is the structural condition of someone who experiences human connection as both a necessity and a threat. You need people, and you need to be protected from them. The same door that lets love in also lets overwhelm in. And you have learned through years of painful trial that you cannot control which one arrives. Most people do not understand this. They interpret your withdrawal as rejection, as coldness, as evidence that you were never truly invested in the first place. But you know the truth. You gave everything. You opened completely, and that is precisely why you need to close now. The door slam is not cruelty. It is the exile returning to the only territory where they can breathe. Solitude is not your preference. It is your ecosystem. And intimacy, no matter how beautiful, eventually becomes a foreign climate. You can visit, but you cannot stay. Here is the shadow side that INFJs rarely speak of. The withdrawal is not just self-protection, it is also control. As long as you maintain distance, you remain the observer. You hold the power of interpretation. You see others more clearly than they see you. And that asymmetry, as lonely as it is, feels safer than the vulnerability of being equally seen. The exile's distance is not only about overwhelm, it is about maintaining the high ground, about never fully descending into the messiness of mutual dependency. Because if you need someone as much as they need you, you have lost your position. You are no longer the seer or the guide. You are just another human, fumbling in the dark, hoping not to be abandoned. This is uncomfortable to acknowledge, but it is true. The exile does not only flee intimacy because it is overwhelming. The exile flees because intimacy threatens the identity itself. You have built your sense of self around being the one who understands, who perceives, who carries depth that others cannot access. If someone meets you there, if someone sees you as clearly as you see them, the myth you have been living inside collapses. You are not special. You are not outside. You are simply human. For someone who has organized their entire life around the assumption that they do not quite belong to the human world, such recognition is destabilizing. The door that opens to intimacy also opens to ordinariness. And the exile has spent a lifetime convincing themselves that their isolation means something. That is evidence of depth, not evidence of fear. But here is where the paradox deepens. The distance you create does not actually protect you. It reproduces the very exile you are trying to escape. Every time you withdraw from closeness, you confirm the narrative that you are permanently outside, that you are different in a way that makes belonging impossible. And so the longing returns, the ache for someone who will see you, stay with you, not be frightened by your intensity. You move toward intimacy again. The cycle repeats. Closeness, overwhelm, withdrawal, loneliness, longing, closeness. This is not self-sabotage. This is the rhythm of the exile who has not yet learned that the door is not the problem. The belief that you must choose between intimacy and selfhood is the problem. Jung called this the transcendent function, the ability to hold two opposing truths without collapsing one into the other. For the exile, the work is not to overcome your need for distance. It is not to force yourself into constant closeness, because that is what relationships are supposed to look like. The work is to stop treating intimacy and solitude as opposing forces, to recognize that you will always need both, that the rhythm of moving toward and moving away is not a failure of commitment. It is the way your psyche maintains equilibrium. You are not broken for needing space after closeness. You are structured differently, and the people who can love you well are the ones who understand that your withdrawal is not about them. It is about you returning to yourself so that you can come back to them whole. This is the integration the exile must find. Intimacy does not have to mean losing yourself. Distance need not mean exile. The same door can open to both, but only if you stop believing that walking through it in either direction is a betrayal. You can be close and still be yourself. You can withdraw and still be connected. The people worth keeping are the ones who do not interpret your need for solitude as rejection, who understand that you love in cycles, not in constants, who know that when you disappear you are not leaving, you are replenishing, and you will return. The exile's gift is perception. You see what others miss because you maintain distance even in closeness. That will never change. But the curse of the exile is the belief that distance is the only way to stay safe, that intimacy will always end in drowning. It will not. Not if you stop pretending you are supposed to be like everyone else, not if you build relationships that honor your rhythm rather than demanding that you override it. The door is not the problem. The shame you carry about needing it to swing both ways is the problem. If you recognized yourself in this paradox, I want to know which moment felt most true. The pull toward intimacy or the panic when it arrives? Tell me in the comments. And if you are ready to keep exploring the strange, beautiful territory of being an INFJ, subscribe. This is power and myth. You are not too much. You are not broken for needing what you need. You are participating in an ancient pattern. The exile has always walked this path, and you are walking it now with more awareness than most will ever have. Until next time, find your power, know your myth.